Hey guys, it's Alyssa Marie, your intuitive reader. We have another just one card reading. This reading is a little bit of a more heavier energy reading. Today we are going to be looking at an aspect of your shadow self that yearns to be heard. So we all have a shadow self. We have things that spirit would like us to work on, that we should look at deeper, and this reading is going to tell you what you should work on deeper. Okay, so if you guys are interested though in a personal reading, the link to my Etsy is down below. I've got other things in the shop too, crystals, guided meditations, etc. And yeah, so let's go ahead and get started. We do have 6 piles today. And there are no crystals or things to choose. This is, again, I want you to use your intuition. Pile 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So go ahead, take your time and really focus and see which card you are pulled to, and we'll get right into it. Okay, so this is the, again, element of your shadow self. Let us begin. So we're going to start with pile 1. If you chose pile 1, this is your reading. We only have 1 card today. We're going to be looking at the element of your shadow self that yearns to be heard. This is what Spirit wants you to work on. We have number 36, Hole in the Soul. Okay, so this card automatically talks about the inner child. You have elements of the inner child that yearn to be heard. So whether you grew up in an abusive household or a very loving household, there were still identities that you had to create as a child in order to progress through childhood. So for example, I did upload a video about dealing with, my abusive father and reasons he's not in my life. I had to create particular really masks as a child. I had to say, I'm not hurting. I had to not show my father that he was hurting me. Otherwise, he'd get more mad. I had to show my friends that I wasn't really hurting, my teachers that I wasn't really hurting. I had to grow up quickly. And each time I did one of those things, I had to create a mask. Now, if you grew up in a very loving childhood, you still might have had instances, and you did have instances where you had to create masks, okay? And what that does is it creates false identity, okay? Especially with traumas, it creates this false sense of identity that makes us really need to go back to those times as a child and in a way fix them. I don't like to use the word fix. Don't listen to that word. That's a bad idea. I don't like fix. Take that back, because there's nothing wrong, okay? A hole in the soul is a hole that we would like to sew up and make whole again, in the sense with a WHOL instead of HOLE, but having the hole in the soul is nothing to be afraid of. I think for a lot of you, inner child work would be a great thing to do right now. I think that most of you that pick this pile have some childhood trauma in any form that is currently still attached to you. You might be dealing with some soul fragmentation, especially in the years of the child. So as a little child all the way up to, teens, this is a place Spirit really wants you to go back into and to look at, so that you can truly find your true identity again and kind of take off those masks that you had to create as a child. All right, thank you, pile number 1. I appreciate your support. Bye-bye. All right, pile number 2, this is your reading. This is an element of your shadow self that yearns to be heard at this time. Okay, we have the card of the sexual arts, number 33. So when this card comes out, Spirit wants you to really look at intimacy in your life. And as you can see with this card, it doesn't have to be, though, physical intimacy. This is intimacy in any way with another. Particularly, I'm feeling romantic interest, but this could also relate to other people in your life. For the sake of this reading, I feel most of you it's about romantic interests, okay? I feel that one thing is, I think it's hard for you guys to trust people. I think you might have been burned. I see this fire here. You might have been burned many times in the past, or it doesn't even have to be many. It can be one time, right? And that fire, I think, still exists within you. That trauma and the pain of somebody possibly betraying you, somebody walking away, somebody not loving as strongly as you love, and it has caused a little bit of, well, I not a little bit, quite a bit of the sacral chakra to be underbalanced. Okay, the sacral chakra is directly linked to our sexuality. I think intimacy is something that you also might have issues with, in the sense that this is not going to resonate with all of you. Some of you may have been abused in that way. Some of you may think, that you have to be intimate in a certain way. You have to be intimate a certain amount of times with a partner. You have to look a certain way. You have to act a certain way. And Spirit wants you to really go inward and to erase those social stigmas and erase those things that you have really soaked in, because when we're younger, right, our brain is like a sponge, and we see things on TV and we're like, oh, we got to look this way, we got to do this, we got to do that in order for my partner to like me, in order for me to even be fit for intimacy, and ridiculous things like that. Okay, but it happens to the best of us. All of us, I think, have absorbed information that is just complete bullshit, right? And so Spirit wants you to delve into that space of the sacral chakra, and to allow yourself to receive in the way that you want to receive. Allow yourself to feel that beautiful energy with your partner. If you don't have a partner, or whether you have a partners or not, it doesn't matter. This is still an area of your life that Spirit wants you to revisit what intimacy means to you, and through that, erase those previous programmings that you've had. Like I said, you have to look a certain way, you have to do a certain thing, you got to be a certain, you know what I'm talking about. I want you to try to deprogram those from you, not look at what you see in adult movies, things like that, and know that your body is beautiful, you are beautiful, and anyone and everyone, you are worthy. Okay, everyone is deserving of your love, as long as you're a very benevolent being, which you are. I know you are. You are worthy of everyone's love. Okay, and they are worthy of your love. Okay, I want equal exchange. I think in past times you might have dealt with non-equal exchange in any type of way with people. Know though that going forward, Spirit really wants you to look into that aspect of your life. Okay, so that's what I have for you, pile number 2. You guys are beautiful. I love you. See you next time. All right, for those of you who chose pile number 3, this is an element of your shadow self that yearns to be heard. We have the Phoenix Rising, number 32. Beautiful. So with this card, I can automatically say for you guys, an element of your shadow self that yearns to be heard is that there is a lot happening in your life, or that is going to happen, or just previously happened. So very present energy, where things are falling apart. Okay, belief systems are falling apart, friendships are falling apart, love connections are falling apart. Sometimes your will to go on is lingering, like just in your day, you're like, oh my God, I just want to go to sleep. Like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to deal with this. A lot of things I feel for you guys have fallen, are falling, or very briefly will kind of crumble. But understand, like when we hear about the story of the phoenix does rise from its ashes, correct? And every time something falls apart, know deep within your soul that it was meant to fall apart, and that there is beauty on the other side. There is absolute beauty that aligns to you now, okay? Everything that falls apart for a reason, okay? Everything. And just because something falls apart doesn't mean it has to be negatively falling apart. So I don't want you guys to pick this pile to be like, nothing negative's happening. Falling apart does not mean negativity. It can just be that we drift apart from another person. We drift apart from a hobby. Like we used to, for example, love to dance, and now we just don't want to dance at all. And while sometimes that can be a repercussion of other things, for the most part, it's because it no longer aligns to your personal energetic frequency. And that personal energetic frequency deserves to be honored. And so if any of these things are ending, please, 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 please allow them to end. Because when you don't allow them to end, you won't be able to truly go through the cycle of the phoenix. You're going to be stuck in the ashes. You see what I'm saying? You're going to be stuck just barely poking out of the ashes, even though you, this beautiful, big, fiery phoenix, wants to emerge fully. If we try to keep things in our reality that no longer align to our soul's purpose, we will never be able to emerge. Think of it like a chrysalis, like a butterfly, too, okay? If the caterpillar doesn't take the work and time to, what's so amazing about butterflies, I'm sure you guys know this, but like a caterpillar, it completely transforms itself into a butterfly. Like it literally breaks itself down to goo and like rebirths itself. Same thing, okay? Think of it in that kind of way as a metaphor. That caterpillar did not need to be a caterpillar anymore. Maybe it was nice because, the fear of the unknown of being a butterfly was present, but yet it knew it was supposed to be a butterfly, and so it followed its truth to be one. So that's the message I have for you. Spirit wants you to focus again on things that are falling apart and let them fall, and no longer hold on to them, okay? So that's my message for you guys, pile 3. Have a lovely day. Thank you. All right, this is pile number 4. This is an element of your shadow self that yearns to be heard right now. It is discover your life's purpose, number 29. Okay, so immediately with this card, the element of your shadow self here is that Spirit wants me to tell you guys that there is still a portion of your life's purpose that you are not following, okay? Now remember that the life's purpose does change throughout our life. It's not, in my opinion anyway, it's not like we're born and it's like, oh yeah, I'm meant to be with this person, I'm meant to do this in life. Our life's purpose molds and changes as we go through life, okay? And so I feel going with that framework, know that there are things in your life that no longer align to you, and there are things that you want to do that you're holding back from. Let's just say if you can't afford to do something, or you don't have the means of getting somewhere, whatever, to do something. Although we can find a workaround, that can be difficult. But if you are specifically not doing something, you're not going back to school, you're not moving across the country because of fear, not because of money, not because of things that actually, we would need to save up for. If it's because of fear, which I think for a lot of you who chose this group, it is, please don't ever let fear hold you back from doing something, because I promise you, you will regret it. Why do I say that? Because I've lived that life, okay? I definitely have. There are many things that I was afraid to do. I was afraid of rejection. I was afraid I would fail. I was afraid, so many things I was afraid that I couldn't do, that I decided to sit back. I decided to be the wallflower. And while that is perfectly valid, know that that's not authentically you. And so even if you feel that you're doing everything you want to in this life, there are still things that your soul longs for you to do. It can be something minor, it can be something major. For example, some of you, like, this is just random, but let's say sewing. Like, let's say you watch sewing videos and you're like, damn, I wish I could sew. Like, I want to learn to sew. I want to sew my own clothes. I want to do this. But you're like, I'll probably suck at it and it'll look stupid and it'll be a waste of time. That's fear, okay? It's not like I don't want to sew because I can't right now afford the sewing machine, because that, okay, you can save up money, get the sewing machine, yada, yada, yada. But if it's like, I'm afraid of failure, I'm afraid of rejection, that is an element of fear that, by the way, many of us have. Almost everybody has that at some point in their life. There are still elements of your life purpose that Spirit wants you to figure out. Even if it feels like, I have no idea what you're talking about, Alyssa, I want you to sit down and I want you to really focus. What is it in my life that you are calling to? Okay, what is your soul yearning for? What is the feeling in your gut about a person, a place, a thing? What is it? Follow that, okay? So that's what I have for you, pile number 4. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next reading. All right, pile 5, this is your reading. What is an element of your shadow self that yearns to be heard at this time? We have the card of letting go. Yup. Letting go. This is so clear. I bet a lot of people chose this pile because this is a message for so many people. Letting go. So Spirit wants you to know that you have the tendency to hold on to things that no longer serve your purpose. I'll reference to myself, for example. So in a way, I don't have to get into it, but I definitely have abandonment trauma. And I've realized that in my life as I've gotten older. I'm afraid for connections to end. I don't like being alone. And it's something that I'm working on. I'm getting so much better at. But this is something that I truly resonate with. Sometimes we would just rather not have anything end. Even if it's a toxic relationship, even if it's something that we've put a lot of work into, a lot of time into, we think, God, I can't let that go, okay? But look at this image here. See this girl? Notice how she's in a cemetery, so we're looking at, death, okay? And remember that with death, we're thinking about more so transformation and metamorphosis. But she is in a cemetery, and notice how she's looking over her shoulder at literally the graveyard, but literally here, death himself. And she's like, I know you're there, death, but I'm not going to turn around. I don't want to turn around, because the minute I turn around, you become reality. So instead, I will just look over my shoulder, but I won't fully turn around because I'm not ready. Okay, that's you guys. And this is regarding connections, belief systems, passions, goals. Absolutely everything. Spirit wants you to know that that's an element you should work on. You should understand that death and letting go is vital, and it is a necessary part of life. Humans inherently dislike change. We find comfort. We are creatures of habit. I'm sure you've heard that. We're creatures of habit. We don't like change. There are very few people, anyway, that like change. People don't like that because they find comfort in repeat, repeat. So when something dies out, whoa, my repeat is not there no more, right? And that's scary. That's scary. And you have all right to feel that way, okay? So this is something fear, okay? This is rooted in fear. Okay, and for many of you, I should say for each and every one of you, you're going to have a different reasoning for this. So when I went back with myself and I looked, okay, why am I afraid of losing people? It led me to my abandonment trauma. That is an element of who I am. And it's an element I'm working on. Some of you might not have abandonment trauma, but you still have, the same message of not being able to let go, or not wanting to let go. And then letting go causes a lot of grief. So know that there are things in your life that you have not fully let go of. Because it's one thing to say, I've let go of something. And it's another thing to literally live that, literally live the fact that you've let go, to energetically vibrate at that frequency. Because many people say, oh yeah, I'm over said person. Oh yeah, that doesn't bother me. But a lot of those people haven't truly let go, okay? And if you chose this pile, you are one of these people. No hate. I also am one of these people. There are things that I have not let go of. It is very normal. And like I said, I bet a lot of people did choose this pile because it is very normal. But I want you guys to really realize that things serve their purpose and then they're meant to exit our reality. Literally, we have done energetic exchanges with another. We have, done this one hobby, did this one job, and no matter even if we still love it, no matter if it's still, we still think we need it in our lives, it's time to go. Things are mortal. Everything is mortal, okay, around here anyway. Your soul is immortal, but everything on earth, this is mortal. This is finite, okay? And so allowing death to take place, allowing the caterpillar to become the butterfly. And this is something I talked about with another group. I think it was group 3. I talked about the fact that a butterfly literally transforms itself, a caterpillar, excuse me. So like it literally does not have external means help it. It basically takes itself and digests itself into this goo and then transforms itself into a butterfly all by itself. And if you look at that metamorphosis, that example, I should say metaphor. I don't know why I said metamorphosis. I mean, it is metamorphosis, right? Because we're talking about butterflies. But if you look at that metaphor, you will realize truly that caterpillar did not know what was ahead of it. But it didn't have fear of the unknown, did it? No, it didn't know that it was going to be really turned into some goo. Maybe it did, but it didn't know that, what's really going to happen. It just did it. It was instinctual. And that's the thing with humans. We have so much fear pent up in us because we have the capability to think deeply. It is a byproduct of our intelligence, really. As far as we know, we are the most intelligent beings on planet Earth, right? Like a dog. A dog doesn't think in that way because the dog doesn't have the capability to, but is the dog happier? Probably, right? And so I want you to really think about what I said, and I want you to work on that letting go. Thank you guys so much, pile number 5. All right, final pile number 6. This is an element of your shadow self that yearns to be heard. What does spirit want to focus on? We have the card of home. Beautiful. So with this card, for a lot of you, I feel that home is, okay, one second. Sorry about that. My dog needed something. Anyway, so with the home card, I feel your shadow self that yearns to be heard is a lot of times you look at home in an external fashion. A lot of other people are home to you, an actual structure is home to you, a certain way of life is home to you. And while we can tie that to our identity, our true home lies within. As we know the saying, home is where the heart is. It is, truly, home is where the heart is. For some of you who chose pile number 6, home could have been something that was hard to identify. Some of you might have grown up in a abusive household or a household where there was lack, confusing type of family dynamic, toxic dynamic. But for the others of you, even if you had a great home life growing up, Spirit wants you to realize the sense of self and love the sense of self and realize that other people and connections are bonuses. And a lot of people don't like to hear that, but they are. So like your husband, your wife, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your best friend, you can love these people and continue to love them. but know that you don't need those people. You tell yourself, oh, I need this person. I don't know what I would do without this person, but you don't need them, okay? They give you such love and support, but know that you don't need anyone else but yourself, ever. I promise you. You have all the love and the light inside of you at all times. And this is something I also talk about a lot on this channel. But as you become more and more in tune with your spiritual self, you will understand, okay, that one of your greatest gifts and greatest friends is yourself, okay? Your higher self, your lower self, yourself right now. All of those elements of yourself yearn to be explored, because the thing is a lot of times you think you know yourself. You hear the saying, you think you know a guy, but I want you to say in your head, you think you know yourself, right? You think you do, but you don't. You really don't. When you go and you sit down, a lot of times there are so many psychic abilities that you have, pile 6. There's so many gifts and talents. There's so many traumas that are not healed. There are so many wounds that still probably fester all within you. And a lot of times we are just on our get up, go to work, come home, go to sleep cycle. Not saying you are, but a lot of people on planet Earth are, that we forget how precious we are to ourselves. And to really, now I'm not saying you can't be a friend to another person, because I'm sure you're a beautiful friend to people, but to really be the best of friends for someone else, we have to really know ourselves, okay? We have to really understand ourselves. And that is a journey that is intense, because when you decide to look deep into yourself, you will see things that are shadowy, but you will see things that are full of light as well. There are so many talents that you guys have yet to even see for yourself. So many belief systems that you have yet to uphold, and gifts that you have yet to share with the world, okay? And I invite you to look into that. I also want you to make sure that you are treating yourself with respect. You are loving yourself. You are not talking down to yourself. You are not, in a way, defacing the home, which is yourself. And what I mean by that is, I don't want you to say anything to yourself that you wouldn't say to your friend, to your mom, okay? Would you complain about your mom's body to her face? Would you say to your best friend that you're stupid and you're ugly and you're worthless? No, you wouldn't. So don't say it to yourself. Don't say it out loud, and don't even say it in your head, okay? Because your body, your vessel is your home. This is your home. So Spirit also wants you to look and be grateful for happiness that exists internally rather than happiness that exists externally. Remember that the happiness that exists externally is still meant to be experienced, but it is a bonus. Truly, you want to get to the point where you are able to be completely happy all by yourself on an island, okay? And that sounds scary for a lot of people, but just loving and learning and knowing yourself, and knowing that yourself will change, okay? So who you were a year ago might be drastically different than who you are now. Might not be. But I can tell you all that who you are at 8 years old is drastically different than who you are now. And going and revisiting, looking at inner child work is something Spirit wants you to do as well. So I hope you guys all enjoyed this reading, and thank you so much for watching, everybody. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye-bye.